Game fours for round two start today on Sunday. We have two of them Sunday, then two tomorrow on Monday. I'm breaking down the two Sunday games for you in full depth. Knicks, Pacers, Nuggets, Timberwolves here on Sunday, May the 12th. Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to all you mothers out there. Going to give you free analysis, side totals, player props, everything coming up in this video in just a moment. Hi, this is Steve Merril, WagerTalk.com, right back here on WagerTalk TV. And we have two games here on Sunday, Mother's Day, May the 12th. First game goes at 3:30 Eastern, Knicks, Pacers, Game 4. And I told you going into the video on Friday that the Pacers could very well be up 2-0, 1-1. Well, they were down 0-2. They blew leads in both games, 1 and 2, just like the Philadelphia 76ers did in New York. Sixers could have been up 1-1, 2-0 against the Knicks. They came short. We're down in the first half. Sixers won the game overall. Well, the Pacers were up in the first half, won the game overall, but they did not cover. They gave up the cover. They were up in Game 3 by as much as 12 points, ended up only winning by 5 and failing to cover as a 7-point favorite. And that was a huge line adjustment. Keep in mind, in Games 1 and 2, especially Game 1, they were a 6-point dog at New York and then a 7-point favorite just 2 games later. So it was a 13-point line swing, and the value did make the difference as the Pacers won but failed to cover. Indiana should be alive, though, here again in Game 4. The line is now cheaper at just 5.5, but boy, the Knicks have some injuries. Let's talk about them. Jalen Brunson looks a little slower out there right now as he continues to battle the ankle injury, and it's also not clear if Anunoby is going to be back anytime soon. He missed Game 3. OG Anunoby is listed as out as we head into Sunday for this Game 4, and I talked about this on Friday's video. He is maybe perhaps one of the most underrated players in the league, and the Knicks have been much weaker without him, including losing Game 3 the other night. They did the 2-for-1 trade with Toronto at the turn of the calendar year, and going back to January 1st, since Anunoby joined the team, the Knicks are 28-8 straight up when he plays. He missed Game 3 the other night, they lost, and the 28-8 record with him is not misleading. Now, he's only played about 20% of the overall total minutes this year for the Knicks because he wasn't with them for half a season, and he's been injured on and off at times this year as well, but really shattering numbers when you look at him on and off the court. Per 100 possessions on a 48-minute basis, they're about 7 points weaker offensively, and they're about 14.5 points weaker defensively. So you're talking about almost a 21.5-point difference per 48 minutes when he's on or off the court. That is about as high as any player I track in the NBA this year, and that's got to be a big concern for you because we keep talking about the Villanova 3 getting it done offensively for the Knicks. And, of course, if you're new to the video, Villanova 3 is Josh Hart, DiVincenzo, and Jalen Brunson. All three were together on the 2017 team, and a couple of them were there in 16, a couple of them were there in 18. Villanova won the national title in 2016 and 18. When they were all there in 17, they were the number 1 overall seed, but they got bumped by Wisconsin in the round of 32. So powerhouse college team, and they're transferring it in now to the NBA, but can they continue to do the heavy lifting, especially with Brunson a bit banged up? And Brunson once again stayed under his point total. He became only the 4th player in NBA history a few games back to have 4 straight 40-point games or better. He joined, of course, Michael Jordan, Jerry West, and Bernard King. Since then, though, he's gone under his point total with 29, going under the 37.5, but he actually went over with the 26 points the other night because they bumped it way down to 25.5 at the close. So depending on when you played it, you actually could have cashed it over at 25.5 because the books really lowered his number. That's a little misleading, though. The 26 is well below what his point total has been in the mid-30 range for every other game, and it's priced again at 32.5 here for Game 4. So, you know my rule. I don't like to fade superstars. I look to play the over or pass, but I'd be careful with Brunson here. I just don't know if he's fully healthy. If he's not fully healthy, then a guy like Josh Hart probably picks up the difference, or DiVincenzo had 35 points the other night in Game 3. Josh Hart did regress, as we thought he eventually might, with just 10 points, and he has now had 19 or less in 4 of his last 5 playoff games, but he's still priced at just 15.5, so it's hard to fade Hart. DiVincenzo's a guy that might regress a bit, but once again, if Brunson's not fully healthy, it's hard to see him going anywhere else. Hartenstein's a guy we thought would get more shots with Mitchell Robinson out of the lineup, but Hartenstein only had 6 points in Game 3 and only took 4 shot attempts, so he definitely regressed as expected. On the Indiana side of the ball, Halliburton is listed as questionable. He's back on the injury report with a leg injury, but he had a monster Game 3, 35 points, and he took 26 shot attempts, so he sure didn't look like he was hobbled, but just wanted to let you know he is showing up once again on the injury report. Pascal Siakam, another former Raptor, solid playoff player, 26 points on 14 shot attempts. So once again, Halliburton and Siakam took 40 of the 89 shot attempts for the Pacers. And Halliburton took 16 threes. So once again, it's over or pass on Halliburton. But with the injury, just like Brunson, these player props are really tricky. And in general, I think this is a very tricky game to handicap. But I do think Indiana's the team to beat here. They could very well be up 2-1, even 3-0 really in this series, as the Pacers have had 9, 12, and 12-point leads in each game. In fact, New York has never had the bigger lead in any of the 3 games so far, yet they're up 2-1 in the series. Let's look at the over-under here. As I do with all these games, I do a mathematical rescore model based on the normal shooting percentages for both teams. By the way, the total opened 218.5. It's down to 217.5. Game 1 and 2, very high scoring, 238 and 251. We, of course, had a strong best bet on the over for my clients at WagerTalk.com back for Game 1. I've stayed off the total the last couple games. Game 3 landed right around this at 217. My rescore model came out to 221, and it came out to 232 and 215 in the first 2 games. So once again, the majority of the rescores have been a couple points higher than this, and Indiana does like to play fast and push the tempo, and the regular season game saw totals about 20 points higher than this on average for the posted over-under lines. So I do think if Indiana can dictate the tempo, Pacers team total might be worth a look here to the over, and that's, of course, assuming that Halliburton is healthy, which I think he probably is. Pacers over 111.5 team total would be a decent way to play this game on Sunday afternoon. Knicks with Brunson being hobbled a bit is a question mark, but once again, the Knicks have been much weaker defensively with Anunoby not in the lineup. So it's another reason why I like the Pacers team total over 111.5 if you're looking to play this game on Sunday afternoon. 3:30 Eastern, by the way, on ABC National TV. All right, let's look at the late game tonight on Sunday. Nuggets Timberwolves Game 4. Going to get to that for you in a moment. Just a quick reminder, I'm doing this video every day for every NBA playoff game this entire postseason. I haven't missed a single day or a single game. If you're finding it useful, do me a couple quick favors. Thumbs up, like. It takes half a second to click the thumbs up, like. About 10% of you on every video does it, and I really do appreciate that. That's still a tremendous margin overall on YouTube. But I find it hard to believe only 10% of you are finding it useful and liking it. So I challenge you this Sunday, do a quick thumbs up like. Let's see how many likes we can get. Let's break the single day record here for this NBA playoff video. So thumbs up like really is appreciated. It helps keep the content free and plentiful here on Wager Talk TV. And if you have an extra minute, comment below, because I do truly read every comment and I reply back to the majority. I can't say all of them because there's several hundred, and I try to get to each and every one of them every day, but I do read them all, and I reply back to the vast majority. So if you have an extra minute after you smash that like button, the thumbs up, drop a comment. Let me know what side or totals you like on Sunday. Throw in some player props, and if you want to throw some analysis, it's greatly appreciated because I love to learn and earn and win together with everyone here on Wager Talk TV. I honestly believe we have the sharpest and smartest sports viewers here right on this channel. You know, just a few weeks ago, we hit 150,000 subscribers, and now we're up to over 153,000 subscribers within just a couple more weeks. If you haven't joined the family yet, click subscribe and be sure to hit that bell as well so you get an instant alert every morning when this video goes live each and every day of the playoffs. Once again, right here, free for you on Wager Talk TV. By the way, if you want my Sunday best bets, available for both baseball and basketball, check out my page, Steve Merril, WagerTalk.com. And don't forget about the bonus daily free plays. We cast another one in baseball last night. 3 straight free baseball winners on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday on my page at WagerTalk.com. I post a free play every day for those of you doing your own handicapping, those of you trying to build your bankroll. Don't miss that free play. It's always the last cut for my best bet card, so they do quite well overall. And if you'd like to try out my best bet service, today's the last chance to buy 7, get 11. It's a 7-day package with 4 more days included for free. Buy 7, get 11 for just $99. That works out to just $9 a day for every baseball and basketball best bet. Steve Merril, WagerTalk.com. No promo code needed. Check it out right now on my page. Get there quicker with shortcut WT.buzz/SM. Let's look at your night game for Sunday. This one now back on TNT. Nuggets Timberwolves Game 4. And boy, it's been a blowout series so far. You know, Minnesota just dominated games 1 and 2 on the road as the underdog. Keep in mind the T-Wolves had an 18-4 lead early in Game 1. Denver fought back to actually lead at the half in that game, and then Minnesota pulled away with the eventual 7-point win. T-Wolves did not take their foot off the gas in Game 2, led by as many as 32 points, up by 26 at the half, an easy win. And then we did have a strong best bet on the Nuggets in Game 3, also a strong best bet on the over Friday night for my clients. So a perfect 2-0 sweep on best bets in this game Friday night with the Nuggets and the over. And Denver dominated, winning by 27, led by as many as 34 points in the game. So we really had blowouts in all three games for the most part. Game one was a little bit close, but still, it's not been a very close series, yet every game has gone one way or the other. So the question becomes, do the Nuggets once again bring that energy like they did in game three, show why they're the defending world champs? Or is Minnesota maybe the better team in this series? Well, I think the T-Wolves might be the better team in this series. My concern on Minnesota coming in this year was their lack of playoff experience. And the fact they went in and just smacked Denver in games 1 and 2 on the road in the thin air and altitude was very impressive. I think they just took their foot off the gas in game 3 back at home, and there was a letdown spot. And that's why I liked Denver in a strong situational spot on Friday night. Angle now favors Minnesota, in my opinion, off the blowout loss. Always like to play Class A teams off a blowout loss, and Denver fit that angle in game 3. Now Minnesota fits the angle. And what's interesting is that line was around 4.5 points, even though the spot favored Denver. Well, now the spot is more favorable for Minnesota, yet the point spread is lower. It's only -3. This is why beating the NBA playoffs has been such a part of my number one ranked NBA over the years, because the odds makers and the betting public over adjust based on one game to the next. The situation is better for Minnesota here in Game 4, in my opinion, yet the price is shorter. I like the T-Wolves here to bounce back and take a commanding 3-1 lead in this series. As far as the over-under goes, I mentioned that game number 3 went over the total, and we got there. By the way, it was a close one. We got there with 207 total points, and that total closed, I believe, around 205 and a half. So it did get there. My rescore model, though, shows we were a little bit fortunate with about 200 total points was my rescore based on the normal percentages. Game 2, we had 186 points. 206 was my rescore. And, of course, that was a blowout game. So we have to kind of tread lightly on both of the rescores the last two games because they were blowouts. Game 1 was a bit more competitive. We got to 205. Rescore was very low, though, around 195. And game ones do tend to have a little bit lower scoring between Class A teams. So once again, all my rescores have been around 206 or less. When factoring in turnovers, 209 is the highest rescore I got on a different model I use. So that all hovers right around the current total in this game, which is around 204 and a half. So once again, odds makers look like they have this total priced pretty accurately here for Game 4. One thing I forgot to mention as far as injury report, Jamal Murray and Caldwell Pope are both listed as questionable with calf and ankle injuries. I expect them to play, but they are popping up on the injury report for Denver here in this game, which could be another concern if you're looking to back the Nuggets. One guy that had a huge game as we expected with Jokic, 24 points, 14 rebounds, got to the double-double, which he had not done in the first two games, but he missed a triple-double by just one assist. I expected him to have a strong bounce-back game in Game 3, and he did. It's tough to play a lot of overprops, though, with Denver because Minnesota is the most efficient defensive team in the league, and I do expect a much better defensive effort by the T-Wolves off the blowout loss. So let's look at a team total again. I mentioned the Pacers over 111.5. Well, Denver Nuggets under 101 might be worth a look here because, once again, Minnesota has shown the ability to shut Denver down so far at times in this series. Nuggets were held to just 99 and 80 points in the two home games, and this totals around 101. Minnesota, the best defensive team in the league, now at home in a bounce-back spot. Nuggets under 101 for the team total, I think, could be worth a look here in game number 4. As far as some other player props, once again, we got two starters, Caldwell Pope and Murray, on the injury report, so maybe Jokic, Gordon, and Porter Jr. pick up the slack. Porter Jr. did have a nice 21-point game after just a 9-point game 2. He had 20 in game 1, so he's had 20 or more in 2 of the 3 games here. His price is 16.5. In fact, going back to the Lakers series, he has had at least 19 points or more in, 7 of the 8 playoff games so far this postseason. So Michael Porter Jr. over 16.5 looks like it might be worth a look. Seems a little too obvious, but especially if Caldwell Pope or Murray are limited, Porter Jr. likely will have another big game. Gordon was 5 for 7 shooting with just 13 points, did not take many shot attempts. His total is 11.5. He's had 20 and 13 the last 2 games. And once again, I'm never looking to bet against Jokic. Does he maybe get that triple-double? The only thing that concerns me, once again, is that Minnesota's coming off a loss and they're a great defensive team, so it's kind of hard to play too many of these guys over. If anything, you might want to look at Murray or Caldwell Pope props under, especially if they have limited minutes, if they are banged up. Caldwell Pope would be the preferred under for me, as once again, I don't like playing superstars like Murray under, especially scorers. Caldwell Pope only took 6 shot attempts in Game 3. He finished with only 12 points, but he did go over his 7.5. But keep in mind, in Games 1 and 2, he had just 6 and 4 points, which would have stayed under the current total of about 8. So Caldwell Pope under 8 points could be worth a look here in Game 3. As far as Minnesota, if I think they're in bounce-back mode, I'm going to look for some of their star players to have a big game. Obviously, their star right now is Anthony Edwards, and he did not have one of his better games with just 19 points. He said afterwards he needs to do more, so I expect a big game from Edwards. I would not look to fade him anytime soon. Now, he's only had 19 and 27 the last 2 games in this series, and his total is around 27.5. But keep in mind, he had 43 and 40 the 2 games before that, Game 1 against Denver, and also game number 4 against Phoenix. In fact, in 2 of the last 3 games against Phoenix, or 3 of the last 4 games against Phoenix, it was a 4-game sweep, of course. 3 of those 4 games, he had at least 33 points or more, and he's had 27 and 19. So really, just 2 playoff games have been below 27 so far. So I do like Edwards at home in bounce-back mode to get over 27.5 points if you're looking at that prop. Other guys for Minnesota that could also have a big game, Karl Anthony Towns just had 14 points. He only took 7 shot attempts, though, which is a concern. Edwards had almost twice as many shot attempts as anybody else. Mike Conley was the only other guy that took a decent amount of shots. He was only 3 for 9, 1 for 5 from three-point range with his 10 points, and he still almost got over the 10.5. If he'd shot anywhere near his norm, he was only 3 for 9, 1 for 5 from 3. He still got to 10 points, so I like Conley to bounce back over 10.5. He's had at least 10 points or more now in 5 of his last 6 playoff games, so he's been hovering around this number, and he took enough shot attempts in Game 3 to get there, just didn't hit them. Mike Conley over 10.5, I think, is worth a look here in Game 4. All right, let me know your thoughts on both of these games. Comment below. Once again, I read all the comments, and I do reply back. I honestly believe we have the sharpest and smartest sports betting viewers right here on WagerTalk TV. And once again, if you have time, thumbs up, like, comment below, subscribe, and hit the bell for instant alerts. As far as public consensus, I didn't see too much in these 2 games, maybe a little bit of a lean towards both underdogs. If I had to say which way the public was going, probably a little bit of a lean towards both dogs and towards the over in both games for those of you that like that public consensus info. And by the way, I do it if you're new to the channel here, be sure to check out the NFL video this fall. I know many of you watch it. You've been with me for years, but every week in the NFL, I do a Fade the Public video where I break down the most public NFL totals, or sides rather, sometimes totals, mostly sides, and it does quite well long term. I don't have as much public consensus data here for the NBA playoffs, but when I do see a little bit of a public lean or sentiment, I like to point it out to you. And once again, I'd say the public is probably leaning towards both dogs and towards the over, which they almost do in most of these playoff games. Sunday is here. It's Mother's Day. Let me know in the comments below. What are you doing for Mother's Day? Anything special planned besides watching the NBA games? Unless your mom's a huge NBA fan, hey, that's cool. Let me know if your mom bets on sports. That's even more cool. Cool moms, yeah, cool moms watch the NBA and bet on sports on Mother's Day. All seriousness, though, have a great Mother's Day. Appreciate you watching. And don't forget, if you want my official best bets for Sunday every day of the week, I post them on my page, SteveMerril.WagerTalk.com. It's quite simple. If I have a play, I release it to my clients. These are the exact same games I'm using, the exact same games that are ranked number 1 this year in the NBA, that are also ranked number 1 all time in the NBA in the history of WagerTalk.com. And if I'm using a game, you get it as well. Every client gets the exact same plays. They are recapped every day on the page afterwards. The last 20 shows every day, and it's updated daily. So you can follow along as you build your bankroll. You can click on the analysis to read the analysis each and every day for my selections. You can learn and earn. And when you're ready to get on board, we do have some special offers. First of all, the buy 7, get 11 expires this weekend. Today's the last day to buy 7 days and get 11 days for the same price, just $99. That works out to just $9 a day for every baseball and basketball play for the next 11 days and nights. Also have a baseball package through the All-Star game for just $4 a day. Rest of the NBA playoffs works out to about $3 a day if you want one of those single sports. Or if you're ready to really take a serious investment approach and you want football also this year, consider the 365-day All Sports All Access and use promo code SM365 for an instant $800 discount at checkout. Once again, that's every sport, every day for the next full year, and you get an instant $800 discount when you use promo code SM365 at checkout for the 1 year All Sports. Works out to just $3 a day. But once again, if you want to try a smaller package, I highly recommend the buy 7, get 11, which expires today on Sunday. Steve Merril, WagerTalk.com. And oh yeah, check out the daily free plays. We cash Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Free plays up each and every day for you on my page, Steve Merril, WagerTalk.com. Get there quicker with shortcut wt.buzz/SM. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter and X at Steve Merril, 2 R's, 1 L, at Steve Merril on Twitter and X. Also can find me on Instagram. I post free plays throughout the week on IG along with WagerTalk. And stay tuned right here to WagerTalk TV for some more great baseball and basketball previews coming up next.